You probably clicked on this video just to say in the comments, Jimmy, we don't even have GTA 6 yet. Why in the world are you making a video about Red Dead Redemption 3? Well, it's simple, because that's how Rockstar works. Don't think for a second, just because we don't have GTA 6, that there's not at least a small group over there somewhere at Rockstar Studios tucked in the very back that's already working on the next Red Dead game. And since our last update video we did a couple months ago, you guys have been asking me for any new information. Well, we have new information. And we're going to break down everything, why RDR3 is suddenly a hot topic again. And we're going to try to separate the solid information from the hype. First off, let me be clear. Nothing about RDR3 is official. Rockstar Games hasn't announced anything. But there are clues out there. For example, in a recent interview, Rockstar's co-founder Dan Houser himself said Red Dead 3 will happen. Probably happen, actually, which is about as close to confirmation as we can get. At the same time, he made it clear he sees the Red Dead saga as a complete 2-game arc. So in his words, the first 2 games wrapped up Arthur and wrapped up John's stories. And it continues without him. He said continue without him will be a little sad, which was also confirmation that he's going to continue without him. He also pointed out he doesn't own the IP anymore, so Rockstar is free to do whatever they want. But we also know that they were working on GTA 5 way back in the day. So to think they're not already storyboarding or figuring out where we're going to go, what the timeline's going to be, what part of history are we going to be for RDR3, I think that would be silly. Meanwhile, Take-Two, Rockstar's parent, has publicly described Red Dead as a permanent franchise. That came directly from CEO Strauss Zelnick, who said back in 2014 and reiterated it since, that as long as the games keep delivering, which they do, Red Dead will keep coming back. He even named Red Dead alongside GTA's IP they intend to keep alive indefinitely. So even at a corporate level, the message is clear. Red Dead isn't dead. It will return when the time is right. But when is the big question mark? I read every single comment on every single video, guys. So let's jump in to what's going on. Well, one thing we know, we had a few new leaks and insider hints that got everybody excited. We'll get to those in a little bit. More importantly, Rockstar's other big series, of course, Grand Theft Auto, has shifted timelines. So we know GTA 6 was pushed back to later this year, meaning Rockstar's top focus is tied up there. But by the time GTA 6 ships and finishes its life cycle, could easily be the early 2030s. 2030s, guys. Historically, Rockstar takes its sweet time. Look at the 10-year gap between GTA 5 and GTA 6. That likely pushes any RDR3 development way down the road. Official development, that is. But even that timeline means RDR3 is going to happen. And given the hype and the money involved, and when it does, everybody wants to be ready. We want to know what's going on. So, quick refresher on why Red Dead matters. The Red Dead Redemption series, RDR1 2010 and RDR2 2018, are 2 of the most acclaimed open world games ever made. They told one continuous story about outlaws John Marston and Arthur Morgan and how the Wild West was dying. Now, creatively, RDR2 was the prequel that led directly into RDR1. I know it's backwards, but if you've played them both, you completely understand it. If you haven't played either one of them, what are you doing? So, spoiler alert, when RDR2 ended, Arthur's journey was complete, and then RDR1 wrapped up John's. That's what Dan Houser meant by the cohesive 2-game arc. The saga, it felt finished. So then Houser left Rockstar in 2020. Since then, he's mostly stepped back from Red Dead. In his recent Lex Fridman podcast interview, he expressed he'd feel sad to see Red Dead continue without his involvement. But he also acknowledged that as soon as he left, the franchise belonged to Rockstar, not him. So if Rockstar thinks there's more story or more money to be mined, guess what? They're going to pursue that with RDR3. And with RDR2 selling over 45 million copies, guess what? The incentive is definitely there. Now on the corporate side, Take-Two's stance has been, like I said, Red Dead, permanent franchise. It's a money-making machine. It's a casino. It prints money. Zelnick said that you only sunset games when interest goes away. And that hasn't happened at all for Red Dead. In fact, in 2022 at the conference, he put Red Dead in the same evergreen category as GTA. As long as they keep making something great, we will get new entries. He even emphasized that they actually rest titles intentionally, so it builds up this pent-up demand. So in practical terms, that means Rockstar isn't in a hurry. They never are. They'll delay releases rather than rush it. Now, the net effect is Red Dead 3 is almost certainly a win, not an if. But it's definitely far down the road. I don't want to give you guys some kind of picture that's not there. Rockstar's priority is GTA 6. I mean, GTA 6 is officially slated for November 19th of this year. Any real RDR3 work probably can't heat up until well after that. I mean, industry analysts have taken this to heart. One Wells Fargo analyst, Alec Brondolo, projected RDR3 to hit around 2028, which he calls the peak free cash flow period in Take-Two cycle. So, in other words, it would make financial sense for them to space out the releases. And that, I mean, I guess that kind of lines up with the pattern, but then again, there's no way we would ever get RDR3 in 2028. I promise you. I mean, you have to give GTA 6 time to breathe. You have to give GTA 6 years to breathe. But now let's talk about the interesting stuff, okay? We talked about Dan Houser in the Lex Freeman interview. It was a big one. Houser was candid in his recent podcast interview. He said Red Dead 3 will probably happen eventually. But he also made it clear that he personally thinks the story of Arthur and John is finished. He literally called Red Dead a 2-game arc. I mean, the important bit here is if RDR3 happens, he's not involved. He's not leading it, and it's probably not going to have anything to do with Arthur or John. Now, company statements that we mentioned, Strauss himself, the headline is, franchise is permanent. So yeah, we know what's happening, and we know that they know there is money there to be having. So, LinkedIn developer leaks. This was November 2021. The best single leak we've had from an employee resume. Back in 2021, an anonymous Rockstar programmer listed 2 years of experience leading the vehicle AI team on RDR3. Now, on LinkedIn, he claimed to be working on RDR3, specifically on AI for vehicles. That was 2019. The listing was quickly edited out, but fans had already screenshotted it. Kit Guru wrote up about it. This is not official, but that's a super specific hint. I mean, if we take it at face value, it would suggest basic engineering work on RDR3 began back in 2019, likely in that kind of conceptual pre-production phase, which I think is happening. It has been happening. That's how Rockstar works. In the mention of vehicle AI, that's interesting. RDR games have wagons and horses. I mean, could those be the vehicles? Or could we actually be jumping eras? Could we be going into the Prohibition area with automobiles? I mean, this is one of the few concrete pieces of evidence that RDR3 exists in some form. I also want to note here that those things can be faked. We don't have the original LinkedIn post. We only have secondary reporting, but it was a credible report that multiple outlets covered. Then we have the voice actor comments. People who voiced Arthur and John have weighed in. Arthur's actor Roger Clark himself tweeted, he's certain we will see RDR3 one day. But he also warned that Arthur likely won't be in it. I mean, his story has been told. We know. John's actor, Rob Wiethoff, has openly said he'd love to return. He even hinted that Rockstar has talked internally about moving beyond the classic Wild West era. Those comments don't reveal anything concrete, but they do signal to us that even the cast expects a follow-up. I mean, Clark's remark is important. It basically guarantees a new game in the eyes of fans. Now, it may be a new setting, maybe new characters, but a new game nonetheless. And then we also have job postings and tech hints out there. We've also watched Rockstar's job boards. There aren't any jobs explicitly titled Red Dead 3, of course, but the kinds of positions they're hiring for can be telling. In the last few years, Rockstar has been advertising for AI engineers, world builders, NPC specialists, and other things like that. All those things are needed for a massive open world game. Now, none of it names Red Dead, but it matches what you would need if RDR3 was coming after GTA, right? It's very possible some of those job descriptions, like historically inspired open world design or AI systems, those are definitely geared toward RDR3, even if they just say Rockstar North. I mean, you can't cite a specific job post here, but if you compare current openings to what was required for RDR2, my friends, the patterns are there. We'll just take it as circumstantial evidence, right? Now, what we don't know, here's the brutally honest part, okay? We don't know when RDR3 will officially be announced or released, or even if it will carry the RDR3 title. We don't know what the story will be, which characters will play. Are we going to get any old favorites like Dutch or Jack or any of them? We don't know what time period. We don't know what setting. I mean, Wild West is a safe bet, but could we time jump? We don't know which writers or directors will handle it. Dan Houser's out, and even co-writer Michael Unsworth left in 2023. We don't know if it's going to be a straight-up sequel, prequel, soft reboot, new characters, or something entirely different. We also don't know how far along it really is, but I'm telling you, it is definitely being worked on. I think it is in the conceptual stage right now. That's where I'm at. So bottom line, it exists, but the details, they are definitely a mystery. Now, the fun part of the video, we speculate. Speculation. I want to clearly label that for you guys. Everything beyond this, the verified clues, is just what if territory, but let's use logic, history, and our interest to come up with possibilities. So, time period. The vehicle AI hint from the LinkedIn leak has a lot of people thinking cars. So if RDR3's dev team is working on vehicle AI, maybe they mean automobiles, not just horses and wagons. And that points to an era where cars existed side by side with horses. So that's 1910s to 1920s. And if that's true, RDR3 could jump ahead to Prohibition-era America. Picture cowboys in fedora hats, Tommy guns, Model T Fords, speakeasies, bootleg liquor. It would not be a stretch. Rockstar has talked about bringing Red Dead to a post-Wild West time before. In fact, Rob Wiethoff's comments about going beyond the era of the first two games lines up with a 20th century setting. That also lines up with theories like a Red Dead story in the Roaring 20s. Maybe Jack Marston as a disillusioned gunslinger dealing with gangsters, or maybe even something on the East Coast. There's even a fan suggestion for a Washington, D.C. or Canada-based Red Dead Redemption. Another possibility, we go another direction. We go prequel style. A lot of people want to see the origins of the Vanderlyn gang. Imagine a game in the 1880s, 1890s with a young Dutch. They form the gang, maybe even early Arthur as a kid. We already know Rockstar has some story ideas where, like the Blackwater bank robbery gone wrong, a famous RDR 1-2. A prequel would let us play that build up to the infamous heist. Basically a very safe choice, story-wise, if you ask me, because we've already lived through the end. There's still drama and lore to mine. I mean, Dutch's descent into madness, all of that. The downside is we know where it ends with the gang on the run. But, I mean, Rockstar made RDR 2 a prequel, and they nailed it. Or maybe we get a straight-up sequel after John's story. You guys remember RDR 1 ended in 1911. Spoiler alert, Jack Marston was still a kid, but by the mid-1910s or 20s, he would be an adult. So one idea is RDR 3 could follow Jack as he either continues his father's outlaw legacy or he tries to leave it behind. Maybe he goes to Mexico. Map's already stretched there. Or he stays in the U.S. as the frontier actually closes down. This could be a Red Dead Redemption in theme, and the redemption for the Marstons rather than the gang. Jack could struggle between violent revenge, building a lawful life, whatever. It is a natural story hook. And Dan Houser himself hinted at lingering threads around Jack and Abigail after RDR 1. So if it was this route, we might see some old faces. Maybe not John, but characters like Abigail or Uncle might appear. And I think that would be really cool. Then we have a few wild cards. Why not shift geography entirely? First two games were American Frontier, bit of Mexico. Rockstar, maybe they go to Canada or the Pacific Northwest. Maybe even something Civil War era with cowboys intersecting in the North-South conflict. Or if they really wanted fresh air, I mean, bring the Red Dead formula overseas. I know. That's probably not going to happen, but it could. I mean, we'll see. There are so many options they could do. I want to know from you in the comment section. Where do they take this? I want to know the timeline. Do you want a prequel? Do you want to go to the Prohibition era? Do you want a direct sequel? What are you looking for when it comes to the story? We know what's happening. We know there's somebody out there cooking this up. They are working on it. Even if there's not a lot of assets on it right now, trust me, it will soon become the big thing once GTA 6 is stabilized, launched, and just printing out money. I'll see you guys soon.